Michael Condon. Oh, I don't know if you caught that or not because I hit the button late. So, anyways, hi everyone. This is Michael Condon representing the TooMedToo's Star Wars Network. We've got your fix, and this is the Bacta tank. Come get tanked with us. And we have to start off right away. We have our friend. Oh, he's already there. What am I doing? I'm messing things up. Maybe I erased him. There he is. Charlie Skywalker. Charlie, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. I'm coming off of this bad boy right here
Ooh.
from yesterday. What color is it going to be next? Going a little blue. What's it going to be after it turns blue? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. A darker blue, lighter blue, and now red. I don't know colors there. So, anyways, but yeah, that's my
That's pretty.
my girlfriend's getting really upset with me because I keep telling her that I'm a celebrity. My dog keeps telling her too that I'm a celebrity, and I don't know why my dog keeps telling her I'm a celebrity. She's telling me to shut up, but whatever. It is what it is. But all right, so we got a couple people in the chat to start off with. That's good. Um, there wasn't a lot of Star Wars news from what I remember. I think it was kind of there was a lot of speculation. Um, C2E2 was the weekend before, so there's still some stuff coming out, but that's pretty much blown over. We have the hardcover, or we have the book coming out, and the Audible coming out next Tuesday. So I'll be getting that.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about that next week a little bit more. We did have an episode of Clone Wars. Did you
Yes,
watch this week's Clone Wars?
I have not had a chance to watch this one yet. How is
Okay.
it?
It was all right. It was it was a little bit shorter than the other ones. I guess it was like 17 or 19 minutes. I didn't notice that, but other people said that they could tell it was shorter. I didn't really notice that it was shorter. It wasn't really filled with fluff. I'd rather have it be 17 minutes or 19 minutes than 22, or fill it with an extra 3 or 4 minutes of stuff that we don't need or want. But it was
I kind of noticed that after they do something like they did in episode 2, or the show 2 of this arc, in other seasons, they've always had, you have this big moment, and then the next episode would be just a little flatter. I don't know if it's just because everybody was so amped up for the previous episode that just kind of falls a little flat. But yeah, it just seems like anytime that they have something huge, or get something big that they resolve. I don't want to really get into spoilers, but just in case people haven't seen it yet. But yeah, it always seems to be just a little bit of a letdown in that following episode.
yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I think it was out of the 3 episodes, it was probably the weakest of the 3 that we've had so far.
I agree.
But it's probably because that we had episode 2 is that we knew what was going to happen. Well, if you've watched the after the black and white version of the cartoon, or well, it wasn't really black and white. Well, some of them were, but anyways, yeah. If you watched the unfinished version, which I think Kessel Run Transmissions put out them side by side, you can see there's quite a big difference, but the storyline's very similar, but some of it has changed, so some of it is a little bit different. So you can't. I mean, the main points are there, but I think it was like with the episode 1, 70% of it was the same, and about 30% of it changed or was different, or they put it in a different. But then we get the big, episode 2, the big reveal, and then this one's kind of taking care of the reveal, and then episode 4 next Friday, or this Friday, is going to be another big arc. It's kind of like a roller coaster. You kind of build up to it, and then you got to come down so you can stay up. You can't really stay up that whole time. And it's really hard to do when you're writing something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm trying to think. I didn't really do any notes for today as normal. Which is my normal thing. But
Yeah, I was trying to think as well. There really wasn't much Star Wars news this week. A few things that have leaked out about the novelization that have come out. Um, but I mean, other than that, there really hasn't been. It's been kind of a slow week.
the
Um,
Mandalorian season 2 wrapped up filming
yeah,
or production. We've had that confirmed by a few different people on their Instagram. One of them was, I think, the art director or someone in production had posted it. But there was that was the question that came up. There was a fish on the clapboard, and what does that mean that there was a fish on the clapboard? Where would they be? And I think that maybe that's how they're just denoting with maybe different planets or different episodes. That way it doesn't get out. Just trying to cover their, like when they have names for the movies and they make up fake names for the movies. I think it was
right.
kind of probably something like that. It might not even have anything to do with a water planet or with fish or with going back with the krill shrimp farmers or anything like that. It could just be something completely opposite, even.
Maybe they're sleeping with the fishes.
Yep, season 2. It's you heard it right here. Charlie Skywalker and the Condor on the TooMedToo's Star Wars Network have figured out that this is the last season of The Mandalorian, because that was the last clapboard that's now sleeping with the fishes. It's over with, and they killed Baby Yoda, and Disney implodes, and Celebration has been canceled.
Well, man, after I don't know if they could do that with some of the news and speculation that's going on with the novelization and how it could tie into the Mandalorian. We at least have to get season 3 out of this.
What are you speaking of? The tie-ins with the Mandalorian, and that I know that they've, like, I know you're into wrestling. Sasha Banks is in season 2, and so once again, you know that there's always spoilers in here. It is the spoiler being rumored that Bill Burr is back, but we talked about that a couple weeks ago. And who's the lady that I forget her name? Nia Wang, the one that died, and
Oh, yeah.
from
I
Agents
can.
of Shield.
Yeah.
She was on Agents of Shield. She's supposedly returning, so that means that she's not dead. And like these aren't like big spoilers, like industry spoilers. These are like if you just turn on Twitter, like you see them and stuff. So it's not like I'm letting anything
Right.
really go out of that's
Well,
out of the ordinary.
and Dominic Pace also made a statement that seemed to indicate that he was going to be back for season 2 as well.
What was that? I didn't.
Yeah, it was on. I don't know if he did it on Rose Twitter or if it was on the actual Scarif podcast one. But that's where I noticed it, and he said something about be seeing him again real soon. And I think they also put in the hashtag Mandalorian. So I'm guessing that Gecko got signed on for at least another episode on season 2.
Okay, I'll have to check that out because I did not notice that. Which, I mean, there's just so much going on with, besides real life with Twitter and everything, that things do get past me every now and then. But
Right.
I know he was when he was making
But
the rounds, he was saying that he was hoping that he would be back and that he wasn't dead. I thought when he was
yeah, I believe this was like last week or something.
Okay.
But that wasn't what I was referring to as far as spoilers and in direction that it could go. The and spoilers for those that have not read the book and want to avoid any sort of thing, but it was confirmed that Palpatine in the Rise of Skywalker was a clone. And they were looking for vessels and trying to come up with different ways to prolong the body of Palpatine so his essence could transfer into it. Now, what better way to prolong his life than to have a vessel that could last 900 years?
Okay. I see where you're going with that.
So
All right.
the Empire is looking for him for Baby Yoda. Everyone's trying to figure out why they're after him. Then you come out that Palpatine does have the ability to do some cloning. It hasn't been perfected yet, so he needs something to sustain himself for a longer period of time until they can figure out how to make this cloning process work.
Okay. Yeah, and there's some other thing. I wasn't even going that way with it, but um, I talked about it when I was on Darth Lungo's show yesterday. I forget what it's when Krill meets Cara Dune. He says, "Are you a string, whatever? Basically a clone, but you're not an identical clone. It's just taken from like the same DNA, kind of like twins would be, or something like that." And
Right.
So that, like, we know through other things that happen in the book. There's other string, whatever they're called, string. We'll just call them string clones because I don't know what they're called. String clones in there that make it a little bit easier to go that way. But I wasn't thinking about taking Baby Yoda to make for Palpatine, because that's why we see Palpatine, his fingers are falling off and everything, because you can't clone a Force wielder, and if you do clone a Force wielder, it doesn't mean that the clone's going to be a Force wielder. So that's some other things in the I think in the book that they deal with the string, whatever, and yeah. So
Well, it goes back to into the video games. Was it Force Unleashed when that character was a clone? And they find out in Force Unleashed 2 that he is number 600 and something in the line of clones that actually that works and is a Force user, but it took him over 600 tries in order to make it work. So yes, it's no longer canon; it's more of a Legends thing. But they've been pulling from Legends left and right within the last 3 years. So that could be in play as well.
all right, and before I forget, this is episode 7 of TooMedToo's Bacta Tank, and it is brought to you by my patrons, Mr. Rez, Rural Farm Boy, Kylo Ren Flores, Chris from Kentucky, and Kylo Customs. And I might be tweaking a little bit of the Patreon thing up a little bit, so keep an eye out for. Well, it's going to be a while before I do it, but I just have ideas going through, similar to the way it is, but we'll see. All right, so yeah, I guess that's about it for the what do they call the house cleaning or whatever. That's all the house cleaning I got to do today. I got a Patreon, and to come back here every Monday at 8:45, and then who knows what's going to happen during the week. Charlie Skywalker goes on Tuesdays. But my schedule's all messed up now. I'm working nights again, or second shift, so my streaming's all messed up and everything, and who knows what the next week's going to bring. So.
Oh yeah, I keep every time it seems like that I'll have a minute or a moment to do some streaming. something comes up and something else has to get done, and next thing you know, it's 8, 9 o'clock at night here, which is 11 o'clock on the East Coast time. So I was like, oh, I'll do it the next day. Then of course, something else comes up. I do have notes and stuff scheduled for an episode. Then I was talking with my oldest daughter, or not my oldest, second oldest daughter, and she wants to be on an episode. So I'm going to interview her now that she's seen all except for Rise of Skywalker. And yeah, I think that she's excited about that. That it ought to be a good time as well.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing to see the kids get involved, especially at a younger age. I have people that have never seen Star Wars that want to start watching Star Wars, and they always ask me all what to do. And I was like, well, go ahead and watch it, or they've watched The Mandalorian and things like that. And I was like, come on and talk with me about it after you watch it. That's that's fine. We can do your own little thing, like write down questions you have, and I'll answer them, or we can do like a commentary where I can do it through StreamYard, and you can sit at your house and watch it. I sit at my house and watch it. It makes it easier, and we just talk about it. And but yeah, that's always getting more people involved and always talking Star Wars. It's a backdrop. It's not a green screen. It's yeah. So just a backdrop, not really a green screen. I have a couple other ones too.
I tried the green screen the other day and it didn't work. I disappeared. The green screen was there and I disappeared.
Yeah, you have to have it. The way the program works, cast something Comcast no, Comcast is cable, but it has to be certain distance away, and so and if you're too close to it, but there's one that you don't need a green screen. You just would take like how you put up Star Wars Through the Ages, how you put that up instead of showing your picture. You would just put that up, and that's what's going to be behind you. But then the camera has to read you and know to get rid of everything behind you. So it sometimes gets a little fuzzy depending on, but it's all a numbers game basically, and trying to figure out how to do it exactly with distance and everything. You don't have like these $1 million setups like they do on The Mandalorian, where they have a green screen and everything's fake until it comes out on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Boxes. You got boxes, Michael?
No, actually, there are no boxes this week. I do have a bag. It is the bag from Comic-Con in October with books that I still haven't gone through, but that's the only thing I have to open today, except for this present, this wonderful thing, which was opened yesterday. I just like to keep showing it because
because it's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I didn't want to float my own boat, but thanks.
I'll float it for you. That's fine.
Thank you. So yeah, I have those books. I was going to do a special video for it and go through them, but I might as well just open them up here, and I can throw them back in the bag and do another one later if I feel like it, just doing like a separate one or whatever.
Just stuff back into a box and just open it. Oh, look what I have here. Yeah. Just redo it.
So I don't know. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about Star Wars wise? Because I was trying to think, like, what should we talk about, or is there, since there's not a lot of Star Wars news to talk about and everything's speculation, or I don't have a copy of the book. I didn't get all I've had was the screenshots. I probably should have tried to get somebody to get me a copy of the book. I wouldn't read the book anyways. I'm gonna get the book, but I'm gonna do it in Audible, and I'll have the book done in a day or two. So,
Right. All right. Here's a question. Do you think that Celebration is going to be affected by this stupid virus thing that's going around?
nope. I think it's far enough away, and I think people will just realize that. Like, let me preface this: I don't want to get the coronavirus, but it's not really bad compared to like something like the flu. And if you say, "Oh yeah, well, you look at statistics, you can swing the statistics however you want to for anything. It doesn't really matter." And cherry pick the groups that you do. But if you look at it, the majority of the deaths have been in China, and I've said this to a few people, and I was on somebody else's live stream that if you get rid of the big cities in China's pretty much a third world country where it's farms and land where it takes you days to get to the city or to a population where like things where you can see a doctor. So people like that, and that's why your rate is higher. But it's just one of those things that it's so I say it's the flu. It's not the flu. It's viral pneumonia is basically what it is. It's pneumonia. So if people that get pneumonia, if they get the coronavirus, it's going to be the same thing. You don't want old people to get it. You don't want young people to get it. You don't want people with immunity problems or anything like that. But I had 2 years ago, I had pneumonia twice. It sucked. I missed a week of school and a week of work. And then that was at the beginning of the year. And then at the end of the year, I had pneumonia again and didn't really miss any work or school with it. And, it's not really, I mean, I'm not saying it's not that bad because people are dying, but, compared to a lot of other things, measles are a lot worse and no one cares about the measles because they're all anti-vaxxers. And, I mean, if they came out with a corona vaccine, so many people wouldn't get it because they'd be like, oh no, it's a scam. But, or maybe they would, maybe they'd say, well, they'll put their beliefs aside and get the vaccine because they don't want to die when, the measles vaccine, like they have scales of how contagious things are. And I think the coronavirus is like is 2 and it starts at 0. 0 is like not communicable at all. And it goes up and like measles is like 18 or 20. And, nobody's really, I don't, there's just so many things I want, like trying to go through my brain right now, just because I just think it's silly. And, trying to explain to people that it's not airborne. And, you have to get it from, someone's bodily fluid, or if someone sneezes on their hand and then touches a railing and you touch the railing of the doorknob, yeah, you're going to get it that way. But if, someone's next to you and they have it, it's not airborne, you're not going to catch it that way. But people just don't understand that. And I see someone in the chat just said something about people are buying toilet paper. Yeah. I don't know why people are buying toilet paper. That's really, that really baffles me.
It makes for interesting viewing.
I read something came up. I have this thing on my phone, it's breaking news, and it gives me breaking news because I'm in New York. It gives me breaking news from New York. But they were interviewing people at a Costco that had shopping carts filled with toilet paper, and there was another store too, because Costco only allows you to buy one package, or is only allowing you right now to buy one package of toilet paper. I don't know if that is the size thing or whatever it is. I don't really know the details. But so there was 3 of them, and they had a shopping cart full. And they're like, we just don't want to ever have to come back here, so we're buying our toilet paper for the year. It has nothing to do with the coronavirus. And like, people are stupid that are buying it because, you know, it doesn't give you intestinal problems. You know, unless you're afraid that it's going to get so bad you don't want to go to a store again. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. But you're not stocking up on food. You're not buying another freezer. You're just buying toilet paper. Like, why?
I saw there was a video. I think it was a Walmart in California, and figures this would be at a Walmart, but there were three ladies that were on the toilet paper aisle, and they were just going at it, throwing fists like nobody's business, and fighting over like the last package of toilet paper. Oh man, it was interesting. I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, wow, I was like, man, what brought that on? And then so I read the comments, and said that it's happening all over the place for toilet paper. I'm like, what in the world?
Dude, go an aisle over and grab some napkins. They might not be as tender on your tushy, but you know, who really cares? Like, when it comes down to it, like, get into a fight over toilet paper. I mean, you know, who hasn't ripped a page out of a book before? I mean, come on, you know.
Right? You get some bounty. It's the quicker picker upper.
Yeah, you know. And it's just, I know some of the podcasts I listen to or that are from Australia, they've talked about how there was a stabbing in Melbourne, or the podcast is from Melbourne, so it was north of Melbourne. I don't remember, but like in that area, East Coast, or that would be East Coast, I guess, Melbourne, somewhere around there. And even though it's not really on the coast, it's kind of in more, but you know, there was a stabbing there. People are getting tased by the police because there's fights about for toilet paper, and it's just like, you know, get the bounty. The bounty is 2-ply or 3-ply. You can pull those apart and get extra wipes out of it. You know,
right.
I mean, I don't really. And then the other thing too is, why all this hand soap that people are going for? Didn't people wash their hands before?
Oh yeah, it's insane.
Like,
where they bathing?
Like, I mean, like, so like you can't find hand soap anymore either. Like, what happened? Did people just realize now washing your hands is important?
Bottles of Purell going for $300 on Amazon.
Yeah, that's crazy. But it's actually effective because depending on what it is, Purell won't work on some things, but works on others. But Purell will work on this. It has to have an alcohol content of 70 or above. So
right. Rogue Podcast in the chat said, pick a newspaper you hate. Well, heck, I mean, even if you don't hate it, you can pick up the New York Times. That'll last you a month and a half right there.
Yeah. It will.
Or New York City phone book. I mean,
yeah. And the other thing that's going on right now is people are getting upset because New York State is now making their own hand sanitizer. But of course, it's being made in prisons, and it's being made by prisons, and people are like, "Oh, it's slave labor." Dude, you're locked up for doing something wrong. You know, you can get an education for free if you want to. Like, make them work. That's part of the thing. It's not hard labor. Mixing some stuff together. They have to do laundry too, because you know you get a job. Some people have to mop. Some people have to do laundry. Some people make license plates, even though I don't think they make license plates anymore in prison. But you know, it's like, so you got to make some hand sanitizer. Big deal. Who cares that you're making 65 cents an hour? It's not slave labor. You're there for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they get 3 hots and a cot. You know, it's
room
and board is taken care of. Plus, they get a small compensation package that goes along with it. Yeah, they have to put in some work, but what else are they going to do? Just sit there in their cells? I mean,
I understand they only get paid a couple dollars a day, but you know, these people are like, oh, if they're doing that, they should make minimum wage. Dude, do you know what your taxes are going to do? What's going to happen to your taxes if you have to pay a prisoner, someone that's in jail for doing something wrong? Like, You committed a crime. You went to jail. You're doing your time. Now you have to do some work for it, whether it's mopping or cooking or laundry or making Purell. That's what your job is now for the next 6 months or 10 years or however long it's going to be. And not the Purell thing, but it's just, I don't understand why people are getting so upset over it. But I mean, if you want to, if you are that upset about it, go ahead and downsize your house from your, whatever you're paying and move into a little tiny home. Let all your money go to that. Don't take vacations. Don't do anything. And, pay for somebody that's in jail to do it.
Right.
Help pay their salary, because I sure as hell don't want my taxes going to somebody who's already living. Now, yes, they are locked up, so it's not that comfortable of a life, but better than a lot of people probably are, because they have cable, they have computers, they have libraries. It's not the ideal place to be, but there's a reason you're there. So suck it up, Buttercup. I mean, but yeah, so I don't know. Then Star Wars Rogue Podcast. Somebody got beat up in London. Yeah, there was somebody a couple avenues away from me that got stabbed 13 times in the back. They don't know what happened. They were walking. There's a video of it. It was an Asian person walking down the street. And they were wearing a mask. And somebody came up behind them wearing a mask also. It didn't say what color it was or they were or race or anything, and stabbed him 13 times in the back and took off running. And it's believed because they think that this Asian person, probably had the virus, or there's the out of all the people. And there was somebody on the subway the other day that got somebody sprayed them with Febreze, because Febreze, dude. So all right, so maybe the person smelled. I don't know. Now they don't smell. Trust me. There's a lot of times on the subway I'd like to spray people with Febreze, but it's not going to take care of. It's not going to take care of a virus, if they have it, and people are being spit on and everything. And it's just like, it's just because it's, and who's to blame for it? I mean, besides the ignorant people that are doing this, it's the media. And that's what it comes down to. It's all, I wish I could reach my propaganda book right now. Maybe, yeah, let's talk about that for it. Let's see what we got in there. I mean, we don't have anything about viruses in here, but let's see, where's my propaganda book? Let's see, I think that's a big book, so it's going to be on the bottom shelf. We can talk about some Star Wars propaganda too. That'll give us something. But yeah, I mean, it's, like I was saying, do I want to get the coronavirus? No, but I'm going to be okay, chances are, because I'm not old, not young. I don't have an immunity problem. So, it'd just be like me catching pneumonia regularly or a bad case of the flu. I understand it's different things, but yeah, it's, I mean, I don't know like what to really say about it. I think it's being overhyped, and yes, people are dying, but if like if you look, like I was saying with statistics, you break down the statistics, you can make them work however you want to. So yeah, it's really bad. 5% of the people that are getting this are dying. Well, 97% of those people that have died from it are from China. Not saying that doesn't make it bad, but the rest of the world isn't as affected because we found out about it. And I think Italy's the second worst. Why? I'm not really sure. I'm sure that there's some reason why it spread more in Italy, or Italy has like one of the second highest death rates or percentages, or number of deaths. But it's gonna it's one of, it's not to sound, I don't want whatever. It's going to get worse before it gets better, because it has an incubation period of like 10 days. So, what's today? Whatever I was doing on February 29th, which was the leap day, and everyone was talking about the leap year, I could have contracted it then, and I don't have symptoms yet, but I've spread it to everyone I've come in contact with. That's why it's so bad. And I don't want to get into the conspiracy theories about how the Chinese government, made it and it's man-made, because it depends on who you talk to. Every day it's something different. It happened in an open market. It happened, the Chinese did it. Someone stole it from the lab that it was being made in. Someone contracted in the lab and spread it. So I mean, will we ever know for sure? Probably not. We'll have closer ideas, but I mean, if this was something China was trying to develop and it got out somehow, they're never going to admit to it. The easiest thing for them to do is say, "Oh, someone else, we're being framed," but I don't know, whatever. There's no really any point to talk about it. But anyways, here we go. So we got this book. I don't know if I've shown you guys this book yet. This is the Star Wars propaganda. Oh, if there's anybody,
I like that. That's awesome. Can I see that again?
Yeah, if there's anybody that wants to come in here, let me know. Here, I'll just put the link in there. If anybody wants to come in here and chat with us.
Yeah, that's a good looking book.
Yeah, I was gonna order some more. I have a list of books. Somehow thrift books or something like that. It's similar because I buy all my, well, not all of them, but a lot of books I buy used on Amazon. And somehow thrift books, maybe because I bought a book from them, they started spamming me on whatever, Facebook or whatever it was. And they have a lot of books. Like they have 400 Star Wars books. Most of them are the majority of them are out of stock. I think once I got rid of the out of stock ones, we're down to like 97 books. But that includes a lot of like it would be like a book like this or visual dictionaries, but also includes legends novels. So I don't know if anybody else wants to come in here. I grabbed another book because I was like, what should we do today? And then I was like, oh, I have a book of Star Wars lists. And I was like, we can talk about that. But yeah, here's this. So here's this book. You open it up and you have that bad boy. There was something here that is not here. I don't know if I got another one in back. Oh. Okay. Oh, I put them all together, I think. Or I don't remember if I got this new. Well, I'm going to assume that I did not get it new because it has a price tag on it that says Walmart. So Walmart, I'm going to guess it was a used book that I got from somewhere. But here's this first one. Nothing beats an academy education. Stand with the best. Enroll today. Attention Imperial subjects. Attention Imperial subjects. For your safety, carry your Imperial identification with you at all times. If that was ours, it would say carry your Purell with you at all times. Okay, so I guess the one page or the one envelope, the one side was good guys, the other side was bad guys. But I have them all mixed up now. So here's another one. Never too young to do your part. I don't know what that says. The Intergalactic Association of Amalgamated Droid Builders. Support the boys in white. So those look like clones. So that would be the good guys on that one. Might is all. Buy Republic war bonds. What did I do with... Oh, here it is. All right. Looks like we got somebody else joining us today. Hello, Rocast. How are you today?
Not too bad. It's getting late. I'm procrastinating on editing a podcast, but I'm good.
Well, this is your first time getting tanked.
Is that a reference to your propaganda?
No, it's because this is the Bacta tank. So when you're in it, you're getting tanked. Otherwise, you're just in the chat. So that's my little thing. This last one right here. Let's see. Violence is security. Chaos is order. War is peace. Don't be fooled by political double talk. So yeah, that's kind of I just think with all the propaganda that's going on right now and the fear mongering, Dublin just canceled their St. Patrick's Day parade. Boston just canceled their St. Patrick's Day parade today, and waiting to hear about New York City. I'm sure it'll be next because they've already declared a state of emergency. So
there's talk of cancelling sports leagues as well, like the Premier League over in the UK. Yeah. It's insane.
So yeah, I mean it is what it is, but these are the people that we elected to give us the news.
That's why I don't watch the news. I wait for it to come to me. I don't watch it.
It's not. It's like we didn't elect the officials. We elected the news programs. So, and then they tell us who to vote for. So it just keeps. It's a big cyclical cycle. But
yeah, anything important, I learn about it. I learned about the coronavirus, didn't I? So I learned about everything else. It all comes to me.
So all right. So while you're here, tell us about yourself and where we can find you and all that great stuff. We got a few people in here. Maybe some people don't follow you yet.
No, yeah. Thanks for the opportunity to do that. So yeah, this is just for this YouTube channel is not just gonna have my podcast on it, but that's what I'm focusing on right now. But I'm gonna do some other videos like lore videos and such, but I prefer to actually not just read off Wikipedia and actually cross-reference what I read and go a bit deeper into it, so it takes me a bit longer. But you can also find me at my Facebook page, International Star Wars Fans. It's a smallish page, got about 6,000 likes, not a lot, but that's where you can keep up with me.
All right. But, yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of difficult so I guess it's easy if you have a podcast to just record yourself doing it and put it on a YouTube channel. But if you have a YouTube channel and do like a YouTube show like this, it's really hard to take and put into a podcast time-wise and editing-wise, because like where I went up and got that book, everyone that's watching knows I went up and got the book, so they know I'm going to be back in a few seconds or 10 seconds or whatever. When I turn into a podcast, I have, I'm listening to it, then I have to stop and I have to cut out that 10 seconds.
Yeah,
and splice it back. So it ends up taking it takes however long it is. My YouTube stream it takes like 3 times as long to edit that into a podcast. So if it's a 2 or 3 hour stream, you're talking 9 hours to just get rid of all of the time breaks in there. And that's partially because I don't have the best software for editing something like that. I have it for editing more videos, not really sound, but
Audacity's good.
yeah.
That's
So
open source. It's good.
Yeah, I just finished editing episode 5 today, and this is episode 7, so I'm 2 weeks behind making it into a podcast, and that's not even lining it up good and getting rid of making the sound quality good. That's basically just getting rid of the gaps in sound. Or
Yeah, I know what you mean. I screwed up on my last one. The sound quality was up and down, so I cancelled the upload, and I'm still working on it now. I found a way to get it level, but it took me about 4 hours that day, only for it to screw up, and then I've got to do it again. I'm just like, oh, I really don't want to do this right now. But I'd done one like where I streamed it into a private Facebook group to record after. So sorry, StreamYard, I'm not paying you £25 a month. And I recorded it, and then it was just a casual conversation. It was just with Callum Johns, and it took forever. That took about 3 days because it was just a casual 2-hour conversation, and then to cut that into a podcast took forever. So I cannot imagine like a 9-hour stream. That'd take like weeks.
Like this stream, and then when you get a bunch of people, actually, the more people that are in the stream, the easier it is to cut out the breaks and sequences, because there's always someone trying to jump in to talk. Hopefully, where if it's just like you and I, you're going to wait for me to finish speaking, and then you're going to wait to make sure I'm done, and then you're going to start talking. Well, that can sometimes be a 3 seconds from when I finish, or 4 seconds from when I finish to when you start, which if you're watching it, it's not bad because you can see what's going on. But when you're listening to something and there's a 3 or 4 second break, you're like, wait, did something stop? Did I lose sound?
Yeah.
And then I do a lot of podcasts, and I do everything at double speed. It took me a while to work up to it, but I've shared that trick with a few people, and that's how Rural Farm Boy's able to get his list up there with all of his listening that he does is listen at double speed. And the hard one was getting the Aussies and the people from the UK, getting used to them at talking at double speed. But it really wasn't as hard. But I'm so used to listening to them at double speed. So when I'm editing myself and I have a 1 second break in there, it feels like a lifetime because I'm used to a quarter of a second break or a half a second break because I'm doing it double speed. So it's really hard for me to take those little breaks in between people talking and someone else coming on to actually know that it sounds okay. All right, so I have this book out really quick.
It takes some getting used to as well. Like with like you got to train your voice a bit, and you got to stop saying "ah" all the time because.
Oh, I'm horrible with that. I say a lot, and if I just start talking, I don't say it. Like if I just start talking about a subject, and sometimes like where I don't breathe and I just go on my little tangents, I won't say one time. But if you and I are having a conversation, I'm trying to, articulate my thoughts, I say a lot. And when other people listen to it, they don't notice it or think it's that bad. But when I listen to it, I think it's horrible. Just like when I'm listening to someone else's podcast, I notice that they're saying but I never really notice how many times they're saying it. I was listening to somebody's podcast today, and he always says how he always is saying and whatever, or I like when I'm talking, I'll be like and long drawn out ones and things like that. And I've never really noticed that he does it, but he always says how horrible his is, and I never notice it. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, when I'm editing people's voice. Like I said, it's in my friend's voice because he was on the podcast with me. He was starting to get on my nerves, but when I was actually talking to him, I didn't notice. But it's just because I had to do extra editing because we were both doing that. I was like, oh, this is making it take longer. But you know what's weird? I've looked back at like interviews from people like in the early 20th century, and they never ever did that. There was none of that. It's like maybe I remember when I was in school in the 90s. My first teacher, she would shout at us for doing that, but they stopped doing that as I got older. Like when the school reformed, they stopped telling us not to do that. But yeah, I think maybe they were taught not to do that. Like our grandparents and such. Like, do you ever hear your grandparents say very often?
No.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I think we need to start correcting it again.
Probably. Well, they say the two reasons that you say it are because you're stupid, or because your brain is your mouth can't process the words fast enough for your brain, so you're trying to slow down so that you can form the words or get the words put together.
Yeah, maybe I need to slow down my speech.
I like to go with the former or the latter. They're both the same thing. So
let's see. So, have you read any of the books recently, or?
I have read all of the canon novels. See, like right there, I'm trying to think, so I said instead of just staying silent, and I just said and now because I tried not to say So
and then it'd be
yeah. But see now, like if I'm going through and editing it, am I gonna know to edit that out because I was joking about that, or was I? I don't know. But when I started doing Audible, I did all the books, but I started listening to more podcasts, so that slowed down. But I've done in the last year and a half or 2 years, I've done all of the mainstream, like the big novels, a couple from Legends.
Yeah.
I am doing right now Cobalt Squadron.
I've not read that one.
It's a rise of Force Awakens or Last Jedi.
I think I know the ones you mean though. Yeah, I've not read anything post Return of the Jedi for some reason. It's just not piqued. It's not got my interest yet. That includes with the EU as well, with the Legends EU.
Okay.
I don't know why it just doesn't. The only one I've read is Cade Skywalker. Some of the comics on that, because there's a character that really interested me straight away, because I was like, it just shocked me to see a Skywalker drug addict. I was like, wow, this is pretty deep. Like, and then for him to become a powerful Jedi, I was like, I really got into that one many years ago. I don't remember it too well now.
Yeah, there's some really good books out there that are the new since the Disney took over.
Yeah. What's the one? I like the new Dooku one. I liked how the Jedi were really kind of irritated me in that, especially Yoda. And I like that because it's supposed to be from Dooku's perspective. He's supposed to feel that way about the Jedi. Like Yoda saying, like, I wouldn't say who, but that Jedi who's found to be corrupt, and Yoda is like, he's just like, oh, meditate on this, I will. And I'm just like, yeah, you always say that. You don't do anything. You're like my boss.
But one of the things about the books, it's when people are like, oh, can you recommend a book for me? And it's like, it's not really that easy, because it'd be like me not knowing you saying recommend a movie for me. And when it comes down to, I need to know, do you want it to be about politics, or do you want it to be more character driven? Because I mean, they just cover such, picture if there were 40 Star Wars movies that came out in the last 4 years or 5 years or whatever it is. I guess it's 8 years now. And they're all different things. Or even take like Rogue One or Solo. If we were putting out a movie every year and they all deal with something different, and you want me to recommend a movie for you, I need a little bit more information than that to know which way to kind of steer you, because I've enjoyed them all. There isn't one book that I haven't said I didn't like. And it helps doing the Audible versions too, because it's more like a show or performance, because there's sound effects and they have quality voice readers that do different voices, and the majority of the voices are pretty good. Every once in a while, you get one that you're kind of like,
the
that's a
Dooku
little bit
one was
off.
great, except Dooku's voice himself. They've never got it right in a Star Wars audiobook, Dooku's voice, but Asajj Ventress was absolutely brilliant. So was Qui-Gon, and yeah, I like the new Qui-Gon novel as well. Yeah, I love the audiobooks, like the new ones. Can you listen to the old ones? I really struggle with the old ones.
I really haven't. I haven't listened to any since. I didn't do any of. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. I didn't listen. See, I had to say to catch get my thought in there.
It's good to think about it. Yeah.
I haven't listened to any Legends. The only Legends books I've listened to, I listened to Plagueis, which was amazing, even though it's not canon. It missed canon by a couple of months or whatever, because of the release date. And I have Kenobi that I haven't started yet, but yeah, even the older ones from the Disney era, they're still good. They're still.
Kenobi is one of the. It's just an amazing book. I've actually on my channel got my friend interviewed the author of that, John Jackson Miller. He interviewed him. Was it John Miller Jackson? Never mind. Anyway, he interviewed him and spoke a little bit about that, about his books in general, because he's done Star Trek as well. I think he's done Halo. He's done a lot of franchises. But his writing style is very, very interesting. Like, he doesn't, notice there's not really any politics in it, and you've like, I'm not talking about the kind of politics certain people will talk about. I just mean in general. There's none of that in the book, and apparently that's how he writes. The politics in it is very subtle. The characters are always very interesting like that. Like, I really liked how this is a really interesting part of the book. The Sand People kind of subvert your expectations a little bit, because they're not the savage beasts you would expect them to be. They're very cultured. They do actually have justifications for what they do, even though I don't agree with them. And it turns out they do actually kidnap settlers and take them into their tribes by force to become Sand People.
Well, you have in the George Mann book, Myths and Fables, where he has a story about the Sand People, and it's possibly about Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is about Obi-Wan Kenobi, but and the Sand People, they have their own little tribes, and they have different tribes, and they just happen to be out for themselves. It would be going back to the Native Americans, and like a correlation to, you don't really understand them because you don't know their culture, and trying to figure it out that way and make sense of them without knowing.
It's like when we look back, like, to use a British example, when we look back at our history before the Romans came, we had the Druids, and people really don't understand them. So a lot of people are just like a bunch of freaks on mushrooms who are apparently doing sacrificing people, which there's no evidence of that, but that's what they say. It's kind of like that. Yeah, they have their views, their way, but then we look at it through a different lens of like through a Western lens, you might say, and yeah, that's kind of what it is with the Sand People, and their history's kind of dark as well. Like, Tatooine was a lush planet, and the Infinite Empire terraformed it basically as a punishment to them. Oh, Kilo Customs. I'm from the UK. I'm from the northwest of England specifically.
I need to figure out and put on a map where everyone's from that I know in England, because everyone's from the north, and I couldn't tell you where. And it's like the guys from Scruffy podcast. Kevin was on there on the podcast, and he didn't know that Chris, who he met at Celebration, who was friends with all of the group that I was there with, everyone was friends with each other, but they didn't know that they're from 10 minutes from each other. And it's just one of those funny things I see all the time. I mean, New York, they're from a smaller place, but New York City is a lot bigger. But I see all the time people from New York City and from Brooklyn, and it's just like, being selfish. I don't even want to reach out to them because who even knows how far they could still be an hour away. It's like, oh, I don't even want to deal with that.
Yeah, in the UK, it's kind of strange. Like the town right next to me has a different accent to our town, and they're literally they're like 30 minutes away, but they sound different. And so does the city in the other direction. That's how you end up getting confused, like meeting people who are from nearby to you, but they have a different accent. So like you might recognize someone from where you're from because you would recognize their accent. You'd be like, oh, you must be from New York, but or from Brooklyn, because I know Brooklyn has its own. You can tell a difference as a local, and that kind of it's weird like that. And yeah, which podcasters do you listen to specifically? Like, do you have quite a few of them, or do you just kind of drift around a bit?
Oh, I used to have about 160 on my playlist. Now I'm down to, I lost my playlist a couple of times. It got erased. I'm down to about 60 or 70. And I listen to those. I have my ones that I listen to every week on a regular basis, usually close to when they come out. And then I have other ones that when I can fit them in, I fit in. So some weeks I can fit in a lot. Some weeks I don't. So they just get skipped over. But a lot of the ones on the Making Star Wars network I listen to.
Yeah.
So like Rogue One, Blue Harvest, Sith List. Now this is podcasting. Even some of the other ones that aren't.
I love that name.
Even some of the other ones that aren't as well known, like Idiot's Array and Tarkin's Top Shelf. Pretty much, I listen to everything that's on the Making Star Wars network. But then there's a bunch of other ones that I listen to all the time too, like Conversations, and like I'm gonna feel bad because I'm gonna forget my friend's podcast to name, but Scruffy Podcasters, the Scruffy Podcast. Two of those guys are from England. Two of them are from Maine.
You should let me know in case they live nearby to me. I don't listen to Star Wars.
The Holo Chronicles I listen to. Andy comes on here often. That's where I got this from.
I love that, by the way. That is really nice. Is that just a light, or is it? Does it do anything else, or is it just a?
It changes color.
Yeah, but it's still nice. I was just wondering. Sometimes you get them that are like hard drives and stuff. I was wondering if that's what it was. But...
No. Oh my God! What if it's like they're listening to me when I'm not? It's got a secret camera built in, going all the way to them. Those
China somewhere, factory in China.
So yeah, no, I got that. I got that yesterday for. I am now an award-winning Star Wars network.
I love that. Yeah, I don't listen to other Star Wars podcasts because I'm afraid it would influence my own work. I listen to other podcasts, most of them political and economics, so I'm not going to disclose them here because it's just polarizing for a lot of people. They'll come after me. So I listen to those and I copy their format kind of, and it doesn't affect what I talk about because I've not listened to other Star Wars podcasts to let that affect me. I'm not going to talk about what they're talking about. I just use their layout, how they do it.
That's where I'm a little bit different because, as you noticed, I'm really unstructured. I just get on and say, okay, who wants to come on and talk? And sometimes it's one or two people, and sometimes it's 6 people. And all right, what do you guys want to talk about? It's more like if, it's not like a podcast where we're going to spend the first 15 minutes talking about the news, and then we're going to talk about the shows, then we're going to talk about this and that, and then we did our 45 minutes or an hour or whatever it is.
Yeah.
it's just, all right, let's start talking about Star Wars, and we're going to talk about what we talk about. Like if you were going to go meet your friends at the bar or the pub and talk about Star Wars, and whatever comes up. And
well, that's it.
Sometimes you spend way too much time on one subject and not enough time on another. But I mean, it's just kind of and it comes because I've had this for over 2 years now, and for the first 6 months I had it, I think I was putting up videos a lot, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was trying to do breaking news. I was trying to do stories. I was trying to do everything until I could figure it out. And then I started I have the yearby dictionary or whatever the hell it's called. And I was going day by day through the entire thing and talking about it. So today's March 9th. And be like, okay, on March 9th, and going through the entire 40 years well, I think at that time it was 40 or 41 years of Star Wars history, what happened on each day. And it just took me a long time to go through the book, through every year, to go through every day, and then talk about it, and then put pictures in the background to go along with what I was saying or what I was going to say. It was taking me like 5 or 6 hours a day, plus work, plus school. And I did that for like 2 months, and I just burnt myself out. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what I want to do. I'll start doing YouTube again when I figure it out. And I went to Celebration, and I was like, this is what I want. I want people just sitting around talking Star Wars, and friends just talking Star Wars no matter what it was. And then I was at a bar, and one of my friends was like, I didn't know you have a Star Wars YouTube channel. And I was like, yeah, we just started talking Star Wars. And I was like, if I just took a camera and put it here and recorded us, that would be perfect, because I don't want like a set podcast or whatever. And it doesn't have to be the same people, because my schedule's changing and other people's are changing and everything. So, and then I found StreamYard, and I was like, this is perfect. This fits into exactly what I want, because it's such a pain in the ass using OBS, getting it set up in Skype and making sure your microphones are good and your levels are good. Now it's just come on and talk Star Wars, and the production value might not be that high or that great, but anybody can come talk Star Wars if they want to.
Exactly. That's what I try and do. Like, I do have the occasional, like, if I can find someone to interview. Like a few weeks ago, I had Stephen Bastian on. He's doing a Mara Jade fan film. That was interview style because I'm promoting his fan film. So, along with that, I have someone coming on in the next few weeks. He's a lightsaber crafter from Taiwan, and it's going to be a very weird podcast because he doesn't speak English, so he's going to have his translator. And I'm like, I might just put that one straight onto YouTube, like, just live stream it.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, it is literally, we pick a topic beforehand and we'll say we're going to talk about this. If you want to read up on it before we do it, let's do that. Sometimes we don't. Like the one I'm about to release now, we'll talk about that whiteboard. And the one that people have been raving about. Yeah, we pick on a few.
The dinosaur diversity board.
Oh god, I go on a big rant about the whole dinosaurs thing. Oh my god, it's just, what do people think monsters are based off? What do they think George Lucas watched when he was growing up in the 50s?
I mean, half the creatures in Star Wars are dinosaurs, or some
crate dragon.
The mudhorn's in between like a dinosaur and a rhinoceros.
Yeah.
So it's like,
what was the one that was in Attack of the Clones? It walks on like these claws, but it screams like it roars like a dinosaur. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one that Obi-Wan fights.
Yeah. I can't think of the name of it right now.
It sounds a bit like that one that kills the fat guy in Jurassic Park. I forgot his name.
A velociraptor. A velociraptor.
It has like a peacock thing. It does with its. It just sounds like that to me. I was just like, yeah, that. It gave me nostalgia about that one.
Oh yeah, and they spit. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not good with dinosaur names, but I know for sure. Like, I go into a little bit about dragons as well. Like, the mythological dragon, like throughout human history, has always been a snake, like a serpent. Only in recent years has it become based off dinosaurs, since we discovered dinosaurs. But before that, it was always serpents. So, basing monsters off dinosaurs is something that's been going on for a long time since we first found, dinosaur skulls and such. They thought, well, this must be a dragon.
Yeah, once they started finding the dinosaur bones and figuring that this is what it was the dragon was the logical thing because we don't see any. I mean, we don't see dragons either, but we don't see any dinosaurs. So, we have these myths of these flying things, so that's supposed to be what they were.
Exactly, yeah. So I go on a rant about that, and like I said, like Jason and the Argonauts is probably something to me when I watched Star Wars when I was a kid. I'd watch Jason and the Argonauts first, and I just got that feeling from it that it's a bit like that, the original trilogy with the Rancor and everything. And yeah, you can just see where George Lucas's influence came from, and there's a clear also of a dinosaur in the Phantom Menace. Where he says there's always a bigger fish.
Yeah,
and that thing is clearly based off Godzilla. It's a little nod to Godzilla. Like, you can see all this throughout George's work and throughout other writers with Star Wars. That to me, I went on a rant because it was so pathetic that people have been saying that. So I've been holding it in for this podcast, and I just let it all out.
And it's hard when you just have one word written on a board. You don't know what it was in context, or even if it was a serious, like not even the dinosaur thing, but when you're just brainstorming, you're writing stuff down and you're spitballing, you're just writing stuff down. And who knows if that board was like a first draft or a final draft or however it works out to be. And the other thing people flipped out about was diversity, but it's under diversity. It's on the wrong section. It's not talking about diversity.
Yeah.
Diversity can mean a lot of different things. Diversity in story is different than diversity in character. So
exactly. And the other one, there was one, it said representation and diversity on the other side. Well, it's not history based or anything, is it? It's Star Wars. It's a fantasy world, so it's not gonna feel forced. I've never felt that way with Star Wars, like, oh, this is forced diversity. No, it's a fictional world. Sorry, I can understand if it's about King Henry VIII and it's supposed to be historical, they advertise it as historically accurate, and then King Henry VIII does not look like what King Henry VIII is supposed to look like. I could get that, but that is not what this is. It's a fantasy world. Get over yourselves.
Yeah, and diversity and representation might not be people. It might be the Wookiee and I don't know. I can't think of who else. Who else was on the?
We need more. How long have we been asking for Twi'leks for? We want more Twi'leks. Could mean that. Twi'lek lives matter. Yeah,
there was Twi'leks, and I was trying to think who else was on the cover that we saw. But yeah, make sure that we don't have just all white male Jedis, and or white male human Jedis. Diversity could mean make sure you include other species, and that's the thing that a lot of normal people are upset about is we didn't get a lot of new creatures and aliens in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, and I think part of me thinks that's because it's been called racist. Like Jar Jar Binks is apparently racist. The Nemodians apparently racist. That's going to really kill the creative process of creating aliens, because you can't just come up with an original concept from scratch. You've got to look around you at the world, at different cultures, and kind of make a mishmash of things. Of course, there's always going to be these influences. It doesn't make it racist. It's not, I don't think when George Lucas made Watto, because he was thinking, oh, I'm going to show how much I hate Jews because Steven Spielberg's is one of his best friends. He's Jewish. You can't work in Hollywood and be like that. It wouldn't get anywhere.
It can be based off a character, or it can be based off someone in real life and turn into a character. So, Jar Jar could have been, I think Jamaican or Caribbean or whatever he's supposed to be based off of, or they say that he's based off of. It could have been a real life person that he used his inspiration for, just like Kramer and Seinfeld is based off of a real person.
Yeah, you might pay tribute to your friends that way or something, people you've known.
I mean, that's how you come up with ideas and base them on characters, and that's why a lot of times you change the names. But I mean, yeah, some of them do seem a little bit racist. Maybe they weren't supposed to be, but maybe there was no intent involved. It was just that's just supposed to be who it was. If they made them another nationality or another race, it wouldn't have mattered. But for some reason, because they were made or thought to represent Asian or Chinese banks, that it's a problem. But if they would have represented, I don't know, I guess representing any other person other than white is a problem for people. So
Yeah, and I just have a feeling it's going to really. I think that's what's been holding Disney back, personally. And I wouldn't blame them for being a bit cautious about that, to be honest, in this current climate. But yeah, the other thing we were looking at on the board is this is one I picked out because I'm actually. I know this is probably just a brainstorming session. We've all been in those situations where you just the teacher drags it on for way too long and you're just throwing ideas out there to get the board filled up. But I liked how the Force was on there under Star Wars. I liked the whole list of where it just says Star Wars, and the whole list under it, to me, suggests that they're saying, what is the essence of Star Wars? What was George Lucas trying to show us? And they've kind of come up with a list of the roots of Star Wars, and I think that's actually a really good sign for what the High Republic may have in store for us. Because you got to remember, there's different writers involved in this as well, like, and they all had their say for that whiteboard. But one of them was the Force. Like, I really hope they go back to kind of George Lucas's vision of the Force, if you know what I mean. Because I felt like in the sequel trilogy, it was often used as kind of a plot device, and more of an afterthought, you know. And I hope they don't do that with the next one. That's why I hope they were putting that on that whiteboard.
I think they're going to get back to more of the original, the OT or the prequels with the mysticism where it was there. But there, I mean, I kind of understand maybe why they did it in the sequels, because there was nobody to learn from. There was no mysticism. There was nothing. Now you have Rey reading the journals and all of the books of the Jedi. So now she is, if she's going to train someone, the next ones can go into the mysticism and back to it. So it's kind of, I understand what you're saying, but I can understand why they may have done it that way, because how can you teach or preach about religion when no one knows what that religion is? Because Luke's gone now. I mean, Luke's gone and found himself, or put himself on his own island. So there's really no one to do it. That's why she has to go find him, and she's got to read the books now to teach herself. And I think it comes a little bit more in the last one, but the first two of the sequel were definitely lacking the mysticism or the Force.
Yeah, and since they were trying to introduce it to a new generation, I can kind of get that because with the original trilogy, it was mystical to us as well, wasn't it? A New Hope and the Empire. It wasn't really the most explanation we get actually is out of Yoda, and then the prequel trilogy expanded upon the Force. So I can kind of get why they kept a little bit of mystery behind it with the first and second, and they, you know. But I hope they just go back to what Lucas intended. The closest they can. It's never going to be fully replicate what George Lucas wanted to portray, because it's in his mind, you know. But they could at least try and get it closer, I hope, to what he had in mind.
So here's the question: what do you think scares the Jedi?
Let me think about that one.
That was one of the questions that was brought up. That's supposed to be what this is about, going with the Viking theme or whatever. Like, what scares a Jedi? And there's it's been everything, but it all comes down to, I think, like, the Sith still had a religion. even though, I mean, if you're going to put it like towards today's, and we're just going to say like Christianity and Satanism, they're on opposite ends, and you have like the Jedi and
I
the Sith. So if you have someone that doesn't believe in anything, so like, is that where the Vikings come from? Is that how they came up with Vikings being kind of like a nihilist? That well, that's and they're called Nihils because they're nihilists. Like they don't believe in anything. So that's what scares a Jedi is
Well, the
the
Vikings had the. I know what the Sith are based off. I think it took me ages to find it because I was googling this constantly, and I did see that Satanist reference a lot. But it's a philosophy that the Sith are based off. It's called Stirnerism. It's based off a philosophy by a philosopher named Max Stirner. He was an anarchist who believed that it was a 19th century anarchist who believed that you are born without rights. Nobody is born with rights, so nobody can violate your rights if you are not born with rights. If you can take something, if you have the might to take something, it is yours, you by right. But if someone can take that from you, that's theirs. You are weak, and you deserved it. You have no right to complain. That to me is very Sith, and I think the Jedi come from a mixture of, say, Stoicism and this kind of what's the word now? Not evangelical, egalitarianism, which is kind of the opposite of this anarchist view. The Republic protect the egalitarian Republic. But yeah, what would scare the Jedi? I think a threat to the Force itself would scare the Jedi.
or no Force. Like here's
Yeah,
these people that don't believe in the Force, or what if they're not affected by the Force? What if for some reason the Force, you have the Jedi who are the Force flows through them. What if there's this group of people that the Force doesn't affect?
yeah,
So they're actually the complete opposite of the Jedi, where the Sith weren't the opposite of the Jedi. They were the same as the Jedi, just with different views. These people are actually the opposite of the Jedi.
yeah. It's I suppose, or even what would it be like the Rakatan Empire, the Infinite Empire? They got a disease, didn't they, which cut their connection from the Force. So what if somebody was trying to recreate that disease to attack all Force sensitives? That would be pretty scary.
All being able to take the Force away from the Jedis.
Yeah, like just they have no connection at all to it themselves.
Okay.
That
All
would be
right.
interesting. All kinds of ideas can flow from this, couldn't it? What would scare a Jedi? Yeah. Um, I think it's going to be centered around the unknown regions, isn't it?
Well, from what we know, a catastrophic thing happens. What that thing is, we don't know. It has to do with space and trade routes. And it's rumored right now to be that all ships fall out of the sky or lose power or something like that. So how that they're going to tie that in, if that is true, I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
But
it sounds a bit like what was it? Y2K.
yeah,
Y2K scares a Jedi. um, yeah, it'd be interesting to see as well if the Sith are behind the curtains, pulling the strings on this one. Like whatever the threat is, if it turns out like, of course, the Jedi ain't going to discover it, or maybe they will because Yoda has to learn about the rule of two somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see what the Sith are doing, how they're coping as just before they reach their pinnacle of their power with Palpatine. I'm really looking forward to this because before this all started, like before Disney started again with the canon, what I really wanted to see was what happens with Bane's line of Sith, like all the way to Palpatine. I just wanted to see that filled in, and I'm really happy they've picked the High Republic because we'll get to see that.
yeah, and that, I mean, it raises so many people. I know a lot of people are upset they didn't go far enough back, but I think that this gives them room to see how it's received going 200 years back, even though people want it further 200 years back, and then they can go back and do, 500 years back from that or 1,000 years back from that.
Yeah, and unpopular opinion, but I really hope if you do the old Knights of the Old Republic era, they either need to dumb down the technology or bring it forward in time, in my opinion, because I thought the technology was a bit too advanced for 5,000 years before the Clone Wars. But I think if it was around 2,000, 3,000 years before, it'd make a bit more sense. It would put them around where the Romans and Greeks are for us, which would be kind of interesting.
I mean, we're still trying to figure out how they built the pyramids. So
I think they discovered that. I saw it in a documentary. I can't remember exactly.
Aliens.
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Yeah, I am looking forward to this, and we've already seen the old Republic. They will get into it. I'm just happy that they are building a foundation. What's been missing is they should have really took a break and filled out their own lore before they did the sequel trilogy, so they had things to go off, things to give fan service to and such, and sorry. Yeah, I'm really happy they're going to be building a foundation for whatever they do next, and it will be a lot stronger whatever they do next because they have this structure, this lore behind it.
Yeah, and they went all the authors or whoever it was, however many it ends up being, and whether or not how they do branch off, because this is supposedly phase 1. So phase 2 is going to be out who knows when, and if that's when we're going to get the comic books, or if that's when we're going to get the movies and video games or whatever, because when they announced at Celebration that it was going to be a multimedia event, and when my impression when they say multimedia isn't books and comic books, it's more than just published work, because you can make a comic book's just a short book with pictures. So I mean, it's just like when they say multimedia, I thought, and I know they said it was a literary thing, but it's still, when you say if you tell someone multimedia, they're going to think more than just publishing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did anyways. That's why I don't know if it was a good thing or bad thing or not, but I had people lined up to talk about video games that were like video game experts that knew everything about all the Star Wars video games. I had people lined up to talk about comic books the day it was supposed to be announced. And then they tell us the day before, oh, we're not announcing it till 9 o'clock at night or till 10 o'clock at night. And now all these people ready to come on at 8:30 our time or my time. And they're like, oh, well, I can't come on that late, or, well, let's see what's going to happen. And, whatever. Yeah. And I mean, it was kind of a good thing because we would just been sitting here. I mean, not that we would have had a problem talking about Star Wars, but the whole purpose of you coming on is because every time they've announced something, it's always during the day. Yeah.
It's the day gets for you. It's always night for me. So I kind of, I miss it completely. Like,
well, I'm East Coast, so I'm in New York City. So even if they do it at 7 o'clock at night, I mean, that's still 1 o'clock in the morning for you, but that's 7 o'clock at night for me. That's not a problem. I was like, okay, great. But when they say they're going to do it 7 o'clock Pacific time, it's like, wait a second, that's, you never do anything like that. Or
yeah, strange thing to do, isn't it? It really is. Yeah, I get that. Like, I was thinking of novels. That's what I kept thinking with Project Luminous, old novels. I was looking at the novel writers because I like the comics, but it's like you said, it's the very short stories, really, when you think about it. You can't get as much detail in them as you can with the novels. And to me, the novels are my main thing. And I have wondered if Star Wars would be better adapting movies from novels. I have wondered about that. Now that George Lucas isn't there to tell stories the way he would, because he's, he writes it as detailed as a novel and then makes a movie from it. But a lot of people disagree with me on that. But that's just a thought I had. It's not something I actually truly believe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I strained something. I strained my side. I need to quit smoking.
I quit last year after smoking for 20 years, and I'd quit a few times here and there. And hang on,
It's hard to do podcasts when you do that, isn't it? But I don't want to talk about that too much. If you've quit.
Oh no, it doesn't matter. My doctor put me on Chantix, and besides not being able to, besides giving me insomnia a little bit, you're supposed to be on it for a couple months. I was on it for I think like 6 or 8 months, because it was like, basically what it does is, I mean, not to get, you have nicotine receptors in your brain, and it fakes your nicotine receptors into thinking that they're full of nicotine. So when you go to smoke a cigarette, you take a drag or two off of it, or smoke half a cigarette, and you don't want it anymore, so you throw it away. So eventually, you're like, oh, I just smoked a cigarette, or that last one you just had, and so you start cutting down that way, and then it makes you cut down. So you don't even you smoke half a cigarette instead of a full one, or whatever it is, and over the next couple of weeks or a month or whatever, so that when you do quit, you've already cut down, and your brain's used to not wanting cigarettes anymore, so you're getting over the mental addiction.
I might give them a go. I've heard the kind of mixed responses to people, the Champax, so I wasn't too sure, but I think I'd be all right on them.
I mean, it was great for me, except for the fact I was on it for 8 months.
With insomnia, 8 months is
the thing is too, I would, a lot of times if I smoke, like when I used to wait table, I work in restaurants. I've kind of retired from restaurants and gone back to school for nursing, but still in the hospitality industry. But when I used to wait tables or bartend, you don't get a break and you smoke. So you can smoke a cigarette in 30 seconds, an entire cigarette, it's like gone. And that's how I used to be. And that's how I used to always be. But if I go out and I'm walking my dogs, I'll light a cigarette and it can last me 10 minutes because I'm barely even smoking it. It's just kind of like walking the dog and smoking a cigarette.
And then in your mind, you've had one, haven't you? So it's...
Yeah. Well, in your mind, you've had one. And then you're also like, wait a second, I didn't get my nicotine. So, I'd go for a 15 or 20-minute walk and smoke 2 cigarettes. And I didn't really need it, but wasn't at the level, whatever it is. So the Chantix, for that aspect, wouldn't work for me when I would go to walk the dogs, because I wasn't smoking. It would be like if you lit a cigarette and put it in the ashtray, and then it'd sit there, and you took a drag or two off of it and just let it burn out. Then you're going to light another cigarette.
Yeah. And especially I've been chaining it recently, because they smoke themselves these days. I don't know what they're doing to them, but it's costing a lot. The UK government's put a very high tax on them, what they call a sin tax. Anything bad, anything they deem bad, they put a high tax on it, which the cost side of it really gets to me. It's not just the cost though; it's the health effects. It's really, I found that I was when I had quit for a little while, I was just sleeping loads better. My anxiety went down as soon as I got back on it. Anxiety went straight up. Oh, someone's commented the Chantix gave someone any new bad nightmares. Whoa. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I suppose I don't really sleep anyway. I'm a night owl.
Yeah, I was trying to I didn't sleep when I was on it for a while. But I don't think maybe I did have nightmares. I don't remember. I don't remember my dreams anyways. So even if I have nightmares, my girlfriend can tell me that I had a nightmare or whatever, I never remember my dreams.
My worst nightmares came from the patches. The patches were, they were awful. But yeah, I'm gonna shoot anyway because I've really got to edit this podcast and put it out.
All
But if
right.
you ever want to come on, you're absolutely more than welcome. Just anything you want to talk about Star Wars,
Well,
anybody in the chat as well.
Well, all right. I mean, you're welcome on here anytime. I know the time difference is a little bit, depending on what if you're a night owl or not. I mean, it's what, it's 3 o'clock in the morning there,
2 o'clock.
now, 2 o'clock. Oh, that's right. We changed our clocks ahead, so
yeah, we're stopping that. I heard.
So yeah, I gotta figure that out now for the. I mean, like Arizona. So I don't know how familiar you are with the United States, but Arizona is like it's almost to the West Coast.
Yeah, my U.S. geography is good for states, but not good for cities and such.
It's in between Texas and California, which
Yeah.
most people know where that is, or can figure out. But they don't have daylight saving time in Arizona, so
that's very confusing, isn't it?
yeah. So and there's one other state I think that doesn't have daylight savings time. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But all right, yeah, you go. Listen, I will be on your podcast anytime you want. You tell me the subject, or
But sometimes I just do a casual chat. But yeah, if something's on the agenda, something I want to talk about, yeah, I'll let you know.
Just hit me up and say, hey, is this something you'd be interested in? And I'm going to say, yeah, I'm interested in it anyways, and come talk about it. But there's certain things that are going to be more up my alley. Or if there's ever, I don't know if you ever want like books. I know you were talking about books. If you ever start reading books, and you want to talk about books, because there's a couple other people that.
What's your next book that you're doing? Is it for the canon?
It's going to be the novelization.
Okay, because I have a friend who does only EU. He's not toxic about it. He just doesn't like the new canon. It's fair enough. So we do that, but I do want somebody to discuss the new canon with, because I try and keep up with both. It's very hard, but I try and do both.
See, my thing is with the Audible books, I don't sit down. Like, if you were going to read a book and you sit down at your house and you're going to read a book and you sit there for an hour or two or however long you're going to read it for and take notes or whatever, I'm listening to it. So I'm listening to it while I'm walking my dog. I'm listening to it while I'm on the train. If I can, when I listen at work, I call it rebelling, because I'm technically not allowed to, which I never do listen to anything at work that I'm not allowed to listen to. So.
My audiobooks got me fired because I was walking around my phone. They just wanted an excuse. They got one. I was listening to my audiobooks.
So it's like, I don't write things down, so it's like I got to remember it, and it's like if I like, I'll think of a point, but I can't write down the point what it is, so I have to remember what the point is. Well, if I listen to 3 hours in a day when I'm not home and don't write anything down, to remember those 3 hours, so it's talking with someone makes it much easier. But if they've read it, but if you wanted me to come on and talk about a book, I can always do that too.
Just let me know. I don't think I'll be read. I haven't read the sequel trilogy books yet. I might do it at some point. But if you ever do any of if you read the Dooku novel or the Qui-Gon novel, if you get into all that anytime soon, because they've got audiobooks, I'll be happy to do them with you. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, anytime. And just let everybody know to stop on whenever they want to.
Yeah, I'll let other people I know I've been on here as well, so they'll come and watch it. It's good for your channel.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And so everybody knows, you can find the Roguecast, Star Wars Roguecast. That's who we had on here chatting with us. And you can find them on, I guess, put in whatever you listen to and see if it comes up. Hopefully it does. But we got anybody else that wants to come get tanked? It might be a short one tonight. Kylo isn't here. I don't have anything to open today. Or do I? But yeah, I pulled out this book just to talk about because we were talking about propaganda and media and everything really quick. But if I was actually if I thought about it, I could go through it a little bit better. Those pictures I showed you were the like main points, or here you go. Here's one for you. Death is all they bring. Oh, you can't see the bottom of it. Death is all they bring. So, yeah, this is all propaganda posters and whatnot. There's a little bit more in there. Obviously, it gives you some background. This is what you have for the outside cover, I think. But wow, this is going to be our shortest one ever. It's going to be 2 hours long. But yeah, I'll save this for another day. Oh, excuse me. You're all infected now with the coronavirus. I spread it through the interweb. So somebody just sent me a message on Facebook. Hi, sir. How are you? I became friends with them at some point in time. And I'm going through trying to get people that are friends with the TooMedToo's Star Wars page and group to make sure they're subscribed, because not trying to be a dick, but it says right there, like, this is for my YouTube page. The only reason to be here is to help support my YouTube page. There's a lot of people that don't. And so I'm going through and trying to get people on there. And he said to me today, "Hi, how are you, sir? Are you there?" And I said, "I'm live streaming." He said, "Oh, okay, sorry to interrupt." And I said, "Come join in." He said, "I'm whatever his name is with amusement and equipment, blah, blah. We are selling inflatable amusement toys. Are you interested in these types of toys?" Like, is he trying to sell me a blow-up doll? Or is there something else going on? Is he trying to sell me like, I don't know, like a blow-up Darth Vader? But all right, so I guess that's going to do it for today. And although I don't have see, I'd want somebody to be on here and talk about these lists with. I have the Star Wars Book of Lists, and it gives a bunch of different lists. People who and they're all sevens, I think. 7 people that should have been in episode 2 that weren't. The dumbest explained moments from the original Star Wars, and we could just talking points to get us going. But it's not really fun. Me just reading it and talking it, so I think we're just gonna cut this one short. And even though I don't have anything open today, there's always something. I mean, if any of my patrons want to come on and chat, but I know Kylo Ren doesn't want to come on, and Kylo said he doesn't feel well. So, I want to show my genitalia to y'all. So here we go. Down to the nitty gritty. It's been, I don't know how many episodes. I'd have to figure it out, because we've only actually been in the Bacta tank for, this is the 7th one, so 2 months in the Bacta tank, and since October maybe. So it's taken me through October to go through all of my fun stuff. But okay, we'll do it like this. And if I want to, I can. Nah. I was going to say if I want to, I can just do. I was going to try and make it into this part into a separate video. But okay, so this is all the stuff I got at the toy fair. Scratch that. Not the toy fair. At Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con in October. And what's in the box? Kylo says. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? We have this beautiful little bag, the unicorn bag. And the first thing out of the unicorn bag is these beautiful little Mickey and Minnie Mouse. I don't know what the hell they are. They're in a taxi cab. Okay, so they got these little bodies on them. I don't know what they're supposed to be or whatever, but and then we have. I knew I had this. That's why one of the items for the Road to 1000 is this. I already had a copy of this book. That's why I put it for the giveaway. But this is a signed copy to Michael from Delilah Dawson, and she drew me a little porg on there. So that's pretty cool. And then we have this guy, Chewbacca, from the Galaxy of Adventures. So this is their 5-inch figure, I believe, that they started making. And yeah, I guess it's actually kind of cool because they're in between the 5, of course, they're in between the 3.75 and the 6, so they're a little bit more sturdy, but they're more playable. They're not as big, like I don't know any old folks out there that had the original G.I. Joes and were playing with those. I got this book, 500 stickers, endless fun. Of course, a lot of the stickers are these little tiny ones like that, but whatever, dude. They're still stickers, Yeah, so we have that, and not that I just got it. Actually, I think I got this because I think I had to spend more money to get a free bag. Not a free, but yeah, you know what I mean. But we'll see. So what's this? Oh, this is what I discovered was something different. Okay. I got this bad boy right here. Jedi Secrets. The Secrets of the Jedi. And this I actually have doubles now of, because this is one of the books that I bought there. It's signed by I believe it's the illustrator, Mark Sumrek. Well, maybe it's written by him too. But this book's really cool. This is fuzzy, and this has a secret. Oh, this one folds out and tells you some more stuff. So this is in Arabic, so I don't know what it says. I really thought I got more stuff there. Now this book this is the pop-up book. I learned about this at Celebration. And yeah, my girlfriend got one for Game of Thrones. Well, I'm smart. I went to Celebration and I got her a Game of Thrones one because she likes Game of Thrones. And I had to come back with something for her. And it was the Star Wars convention and she didn't want any Star Wars shit. So I figured that was the best thing. But it's the same author. And she has one up there. It says, To Danielle, Winter is Coming. And mine is To Michael with a Mandalorian helmet, Boba Fett's helmet, some type of helmet. I'm not really sure. But this pop-up book I'm going to save. I will take it out of the plastic eventually and probably put it next to hers on her bookcase just because they look cute matching together. And when I can find one cheap enough, buy another one because I think this was $75. And to find one new now is like $45. Yeah, so there we go. I had another day of opening stuff, and now I just need some things mailed to me. I need to probably talk to that person about that. But yeah, for the 1,000 subscriber mark, so it was the book. This book, well, not this book, but the book I have just like this, the Star Wars Saga, which is funny because they do a Star Wars Saga book, but you're missing a movie, bro. So are they going to do a Star Wars Saga and include Palpatine's last movie? This is the question. But I have that same type of book, or a book that is just like that, just not signed and personalized to me, that will be going out along with the one of these guys. Is going out, and the mystery box, which is going out. And if I hit 1,000 before that, I stressed in there, if I hit 1,000 before May 1st, which means I had March and April to hit that 1,000 subscribers, then that Kylo Ren is going to be included, but not just for the subscribers from 750 to 1,000, for any of the subscribers. That will help get you to, if you want it to, let's say, tell your friends about it. Maybe your friends aren't even into Star Wars, but if they win it, they can give it to you. And I'm not getting the 1,000 subscribers to try and make money, and I'm not getting the 1,000 subscribers to try and get views and get watch time. I'm trying to get the 1,000 subscribers so that I can live stream, which they make you have 1,000 to do, mobily from your phone or from the GoPro that I'm going to buy if I can afford it, hopefully. But, you know, that's another $800 down the drain just to bring you guys some celebration fun. And you know, if that big guy, that big Kylo Ren is going to be in there. Yeah, dude. You know, if your dog has a YouTube account, sign your dog up. That way you got twice as much chance to win. If 10% of the people that follow me signed up a friend, I'd be at 850 tomorrow. I'd have another 150 to go over the next month and a half. And that Kylo Ren would be in play. So, yeah, I mean, just sign up your accounts, man. Whatever you got, whatever you need. Tell friends. I mean, when I started pushing it at people at work, I was like, let me see your phone. Pull up your YouTube account. And I'd take their phone, put up YouTube. I'd be like, what'd you do? I was like, oh, you follow me on YouTube now. They'd be like, oh, okay. I was like, you don't need to watch. I just need the subscription. You know, I gotta get to that 1,000 mark. So, you know, I'll never make money off of this. I don't have the right format to make money off of it. Subscribe. Wait, oh, don't walk behind me with your no shirt on anymore, please. Mom, where's my dinner, bitch? But don't talk bad about her. I know you're going to send her death threats. Kyle, could you imagine if someone just like came on right there and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? He is nuts. Inside joke that only myself and one other person here know. Oh, Kyle, you didn't see my my stream for the 750. Delilah's been sleeping next to me. Come here, boo boo. People want to say hi to you. Oh, hi everybody. My dad's a big celebrity now. Everyone, this is the award-winning TooMedToo's Star Wars Network award winner. Yay! Thank you, baby. Oh, such a good puppy. Yeah, I was saying earlier, I don't know if it was in this or the other stream, my girlfriend kept getting upset with me because my dog kept telling her, Delilah kept telling her that I was a celebrity. And she was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not talking to you. Delilah's talking to you, not me. And, you know, I know I joke around about how awesome I am, but I really am. Like, I didn't think I had a shot in hell of winning. You know, especially like Pete beat out someone that's in the Mandalorian for best interview. So I didn't think I was going to beat Pete. And I just, you know, posted on my Facebook account and posted on Twitter, and I don't know how many people actually listened to it, but enough people voted that it worked. So, you know, it's a win. Hey, just like when the Holochronicles won today, I said, oh, they don't need a Funko Pop. And Mr. S says, a win's a win. And I guess so. So I got people in the TooMedToo. I posted in the TooMedToo Facebook group. And maybe a couple of those people got in there. I don't know. Maybe I don't suck as much as I think I do. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe people felt sorry for me and we're just like, just give this guy a W so, you know, he doesn't have to close down his YouTube channel and his Discord and stop talking to everyone that isn't a 5-year-old. Wait, what? All right, so I guess that does it for today. Yeah. We need everyone to take their vitamin C and stay strong and healthy. It's not going to keep you from getting viruses, but we just need Kylo to be able to come on here next week so I have somebody to talk to. And our buddy RFB's out of commission for a while because he broke his computer. So, and Christina thinks her mic doesn't work, but there's only one way to find out if your mic works, Christina, and that's to come on. And remember, everyone, anyone, someone, if you find any of the 3 GameStop Black Series figures, you have the Revan, the Battle Droid, and the Stormtrooper that they did not announce was coming out. And even Yakface didn't have that coming out. Let me know. Let me know the price. I want to find it reasonably. I mean, they're $25 each. I don't want to be, paying the prices they're asking for right now. And they're going for, on the average price is about $50 on eBay right now. And on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm in a Black Series collector group, so I really don't want to pay that money right now. I'm hoping the price goes down, but like whatever the one was before it, I was waiting for the price to go down, and I'm a fucking idiot. It was one of the Clone Commanders. I saw it there and I didn't buy it, and then I went back and the box was all fucked up, and I was like, they're like, oh, I was like, well, I don't want to pay $25 for this when the box is destroyed. It wasn't destroyed, but I mean, not like the IG-11s that I got where those boxes were destroyed. Like, this was just messed up a little bit. And I was like, I don't want to pay full price for it. And they're like, no, sorry. And I was like, no. But anyways, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm just talking about shit and whatever. So, yeah, I'm looking for those guys. I just don't want to pay the exorbitant second market price when I'm sure I can find them cheaper from someone. So, just run your GameStops and let me know, and I'll Venmo you money, people. But all right, I guess Kylo Ren Flores and I will test out sometime this week to see if her microphone works, so she can maybe come on here next week. Today's Monday. Wednesday, I am not working Wednesday night, so I'll probably be doing a Fallen Order live stream after Rebel Scum. So Rebel Scum will go 7 to 8. I'll probably do after 8 o'clock or so. And it could be 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. It also depends what the boss is doing. If she is going to be home early or whatever, then I won't do it because she takes precedence over Star Wars. There, I said it. You don't mean it, though. Shut up, Delilah. All right. Peace out, everybody. Bye, everybody. Thank you for all of those people that voted for my dad and made his head even bigger than it was before because he's an egomaniac son of a bitch. Delilah. Sorry, Dad. All right. I said good day. May the force be with you. I can't get my mouse to work. Always.